Scotland, where the president has wrapped up a day of golf, and protesters are now leaving the streets of Edinburgh, where thousands chanted, "Trump's a chump." Here to provide a little more insight, James Carafano, national security foreign policy expert with the Heritage Foundation. Nice to see you. You read some of the news reports, you would believe that the special relationship is overblown?
That's nuts. Look, what the special relationship is this bond between these two countries that is a security, economic, political relationship, which is really unprecedented anywhere in the world. In the 1950s, Eisenhower threw the British under the bus in the Suez Canal crisis. We're still allies. There were protests in the street under Bush.
I remember when Bush was coming, and around the time of the Iraq War, there were hundreds of thousands in the streets of London protesting about the Iraq War.
Even under Reagan, when we were deploying the intermediate-range nuclear missiles, way more controversial. So we've had not just Britain, but with Europe in general, we've had way greater stressors in the transatlantic relationship. It's never been a problem. So talk about over-the-top histrionics. I mean, that's got to get some kind of award.
Well, perhaps Pulitzer Prize or whatever they have over there in the UK for headline writing. Here are some of the headlines from the papers over there. The Sun. Trump praises May but doesn't backtrack over Brexit, terror, and Boris fake schmooze. And then from the Daily Mirror, how dare you? You insult our country, attack our NHS, embarrass our queen, undermine our special relationship, humiliate our PM, and then smugly pose in Winston Churchill's armchair. All of the issues you brought up, though, none of them got personal. You didn't have a U.S. president essentially saying, yeah, I like one prime minister, but this other guy who's your challenger do pretty well, too.
Look, I mean, this is, the Trump phenomenon is mirror imaged around the world. In America, we have this hate-love relationship with Trump, and the rest of the world echoes that. We see it in Britain, we see it in Europe. So for the people that are yelling and screaming and making these headlines, the British tabloids are famous for spanning the political spectrum. There are lots of people in Britain who say, this man is saying exactly what I would say.
And saying how they feel, yeah.
So here's what's, put all that aside, and you have to do that with all this kind of Trumpian nonsense, and get to the core of what happened here, and actually something really important did happen here, which is the president reaffirmed that the United States is leaning way forward and that we want to do a bilateral trade deal with Britain. Matter of fact, there is a group of conservative British Americans that have actually put together a draft trade deal already. It's got enormous bipartisan support in the Congress. And for all the controversy, what the president said was accurate, right? If there's not a hard Brexit, we can't do a deal.
Well, that's a good point. And the Brits are making this decision between a hard and a soft Brexit, details of which we don't have time to get into. The person who's watching all of this very carefully is Vladimir Putin from his dacha, wherever he is right now, getting ready for this meeting in Helsinki. Is it incumbent on the president to be at least as tough on Vladimir Putin in his rhetoric as he has been on Theresa May, on Angela Merkel, on NATO?
Well, look, the president values this interaction with these leaders. He learns a lot from that. And if he comes out and says nice things, it doesn't mean he's your friend. And if he comes out and he says mean things, it doesn't mean he's your enemy. He's just learning how to deal with this person, and then he comes out and he plays that.
Trump supporters explain his behavior and his statements with just the explanation you used. Does the rest of the world's leaders understand that? Does Putin understand the dynamic you just said?
That's a good question. I think generally the answer is yes. And I think even the critics really understand that. They just choose to ignore it and just replay the Trump they want in their head.
All right. Interesting. Well, we will see which Trump we get on Monday in Helsinki. James Carafano, appreciate the insight as always.
Thanks.
Good to see you. Liz?
Still ahead, more fallout from President Trump's latest round